you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid, I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Hello again, and welcome back to The Happening. My name is Jorge Shaft, and you are listening to Relaks Radio, or probably watching. You just heard me talk about Boris Johnson having like 3 stories, scandals, all rolled into 1 week. It's a triple bill of Boris Johnson, all in one segment though. I also talked about plans by the government to introduce a new COVID lockdown. They've got the contingency plans going, and it's like, what's going to come out of that. Last but not least, I know it's not I know this is not technically part of the show, but the other people said something I immediately made me think of a little quote. The quote says this: "The children now love luxury. They have bad manners, contempt for authority. They show disrespect for elders and love chatter in place of exercise. Children are now tyrants, not the servants of their households. They no longer rise when elders enter the room. They contradict their parents, chatter before company, gobble up dainties at the table, cross their legs, and tyrannize their teachers." Made by Socrates, 1,000 years before Christ. Anyway, let's go and talk about what happened recently, though. And that is, my next story skips across the pond to the United States, a country which, at this point, I don't know, feels a bit like almost like an abusive relationship. I watch it, it's like, yeah, I've got loads of family there. I really need to care, and you really need to pay attention to what happens in the US. But then what happens there is always so depressing and so bad. It's no. And here's the story. I've got ABC News up for this one. It's Governor Cuomo sexually harassed multiple women. NYAG probe finds. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo was found to have sexually harassed multiple women, including current and former state employees. New York State Attorney General Letitia James announced Tuesday morning after a 4-month probe into the allegations. In at least one instance, the investigation determined that the governor sought to retaliate against a woman who leveled accusations against him, identified in a report released by the AG's office as Lindsay Boylan. Oh dear. According to James, the probe found that Cuomo and his staff fostered a toxic work environment. Cuomo, in a statement released after James's announcement, denied any wrongdoing. Okay. So Andrew Cuomo's been quite interesting for a little while. He's the governor of New York. Does that even need a clarification and anything? New York State, including the city, with that Frank Sinatra song. Even back in the day, everybody knew important city, lots of stuff going on. Very, very nice. The governor, he was actually really, really popular back in 2020 because, even though the COVID-19 sort of pandemic was rampaging through the United States, including New York State, massacring thousands and thousands. I mean, the death toll in the US from COVID in the US is the highest out of any country in the world. At the moment, 616,000 people have died from the disease. Horrific stuff. But unlike a lot of places, Cuomo's reaction to this was immediate, like, oh my God, there's this virus that's killing everyone. We should do something about it. Like, maybe we should like put down like a lockdown and like mask mandates and stuff. Holy moly, like a lot of people are dying in New York. This is not good. And like a lot of people really appreciated that. It's the same actually as like Boris Johnson in the UK, where it was like he was making the right noises of, oh my God, lots of people are dying. We should do something about this. When at a time when, like, don't forget, like Trump was the president at the time, and he's going like, it's China virus. It's not so serious, but we should also be like really hostile to China at the same time for releasing a virus, which I'm also saying is not serious. But, you know, I've made my points on Trump clear many times before, but Cuomo was the opposite. He was like, oh, this is serious, and like we should like, you know, organize a response and like, you know, have like more doctors and like buy as much, you know, personal protection as possible, and also put in like a lockdown. So he's really popular back then because of that. Now though, not so much. Going around sort of sexually harassing, you know, women, staff, really would, yeah, that kind of does that. This story, as you might have noticed from the way I was reading it, is not like, you know, it's suddenly poofed out of magic. Like, it's been going on for months, this story, like, hey, turns out like Andrew Cuomo's like really seedy and really like awful to women in like his life. Maybe we should like do something about it. And then there's talk like, oh, maybe we should like have a like an investigation because people keep moving forward and saying, hey, yeah, no, I'm also a victim. Like, it's really bad. Like, his treatment's actually pretty horrific. And well, here's the culmination. The investigation's been done, and now we find that yeah, no, he did it. He was the bad guy. Maybe we should like again do something about it. And that's been the response pretty much everywhere. Even President Joe Biden actually came out this week, and he basically said like, yeah, I think Cuomo should resign. Like, this is bad. He should go. Like, this is not good. Cuomo's response to that was like, oh, geez, no. And so that's the state at the moment, where the governor is, you know, running the state. He is still in office, but basically everyone is saying, dude, go. You're not. How can you stay in charge still? You're a monster. Please leave. Will he be recalled? Is then the next question. Maybe. From what I know, there's like a recall petition that's going around. You know, a recall petition, in case you don't know, is a petition where all the sort of, you know, people in an area, they basically sign a petition saying, please leave. We want to like vote for you again, or not actually, because we hate you that much. It happens to, at this point, happens to like every governor of California that's ever like existed, but in other states it's not so common. But there's big calls for it in New York, and you know what? If I was living there, I'd sign it too. Like, why would you want like a sexual predator being your governor? And you know, I'd say like, oh, what a shame, because in 2020 he was such a hero. But again, I'm actually not so convinced that it was such a heroic thing. Like, for a start, he handled it really incompetently. Yeah, he was making the right noises, but was also really incompetent. There was also a separate story that's been going around that like he really mishandled like the nursing homes. Basically just let people in like old folks' homes just die. And so there's a separate kind of story going on around that. It's like, yeah, you kind of let all of like your state's elderly people die. Is that okay? No, but like you're pretending it's okay because you're like still going there being blustery and like, oh yeah, no, nothing's wrong. So, in short, my story is going to be very simple here. Andrew Cuomo, please go. Like you're not welcome there, and you're a monster. We go. That's all I've got to say, really. But what have you got to say? I always make a point of like reading the comments, and I hope they have something to say. Maybe there's something I'm missing about this story. Maybe it's a setup. Maybe something's framed Mr. Cuomo. You've got the proof to prove it, to show for it. Whichever the case, I'm going to let some other people have a chat. Give them a chance to kind of air their grievances. Maybe have their own opinions on the governor's behavior. But in the meantime, I'll catch you all again very, very soon.
it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're writing? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly one, because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in